Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 13955 Southwest 27th Street here in Beaverton. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the house. We are just inside the garage door here, kind of at the front left corner of the garage. We've got a 3-inch cleanout cap, although the pipe diameter here going off this and the roof vent, the pipe clearly bells out when we drop in. It appears to be 4-inch. It might be one of the more oddity sizes from this era that you can sometimes get 3.5-inch cast iron too. So I'm calling it 4-inch. It looks close enough to it. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. We're going to zero out once we drop in here to the cleanout, where the cleanout actually ties into the sewer line, which is right there. And off we go. Transition here over to what looks like transite concrete. And this is the other reason I know this is 4-inch, is that pipe material we're swapping over to here is always a minimum of 4-inch diameter. So you have 4-inch cast, and then now we're into 4-inch transite concrete. The difference between transite and regular concrete has aggregate rock in the mortar mix. Transite has asbestos fibers. And it tends to, in general, as it wears out, it remains smoother than regular concrete does. It also has fewer pipe joints. So there's pluses and minuses to it. Transitioning here to 4-inch 3034 PVC. And then back over to transite. Looks like a spot repair was done there at some point. And now we are into standard concrete pipe. You can see the aggregate rock there. And we're going to revisit this spot on the way out here. That joint you can see is separated, but it looks like you've got very obvious dirt coming through that pipe joint. And this thing just keeps diving here. Yeah, here at 82 feet, we have reached the main lateral connection. It's hard to see because we're in a vertical dive right now, but the main lateral is directly underneath us. I just dropped into the water. We're going to let the pipe drain off here. Got a few things to look at as we come out. We're going to go locate, verify where the line terminates. All right, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southwest 27th. As you face the house from the roadway here, the line obviously comes out under the garage floor, then veers into the front yard area, approximately gets about halfway across the front yard, turns, and then shoots out to the street from there. All right, so the concrete pipe, the standard concrete, we're starting to get a fair amount of aggregate rock exposed at this point. You can see that there as we pull out. We're in a very hard vertical dive right now. It's a tricky spot to get a nice clear view of everything. But anyway, you've got a fair amount of aggregate rock exposed, and that's an indicator. One, it creates for rough pipe conditions. It makes it much easier for debris to get hung up. You can imagine, you know, debris flowing across that versus something that's smooth like how the transite pipe is. So that's one of the issues. The other issue here is it's also an indicator that the pipe is wearing out. That right there, that joint is blown. You've got dirt flowing through it right there. And what that can create for... My other concern is too, you know, I don't know for sure. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've cambered 20-something thousand sewer lines at this point. I always get a little nervous when it looks like the house has been flipped. The line is, honestly, it's kind of surprisingly clean. When I start seeing dirt like that, it makes me a little nervous that the line has potentially been cleaned preemptively to potentially cut roots out of it. You've got a big tree in the front yard. You know, that may not be the case. Either way, though, you've got a joint there that's letting a fairly substantial amount of dirt come through it. And what that can cause over time is it leads to hydro erosion. That joint is gapped open right there pretty, you know, you've got about an inch of separation there between that pipe joint as well as dirt coming through it. So, you know, one, it could be susceptible to roots. Potentially the roots have already come through and been cut back. Either way, and what that can do if roots have been cut is sometimes that can make things flow better in the immediate, but it also can unclog the pipe joint and allow dirt to come in much easier. So not sure if there are roots there at all. Either way, you've got a joint that's very open to the ground there. All right, so right here, and I think this is probably related to how hard the line dives, but where we're currently at right now, I'm picking the locate up almost in the same location as where the there's a green T marking out in the street to indicate where the line connects to the main. My locate right now is coming in right in that same vicinity. So it's a combination of the line, I think, being very, very deep, but also when the line does a hard vertical drop like that, you're not going to have the line running away from you in the same fashion. So you can pull back 10, 15 feet sometimes, the locate will hardly move, other than the depth will change. So this spot here, I cannot get a clear locate on. I'm having a really hard time there, but you have a joint that is quite compromised, separated, and allowing dirt to flow through. So what that can cause over time, you know, where this is located out in the street, probably less likely to have roots going on with it. But one, that can lead to progressive settling where the line can progressively shift over time. Two, you can end up causing hydro erosion of the roadway. That can erode support out from underneath the street too and lead to roadway settling. So it's an issue from a couple different standpoints. From a flow standpoint right now, it's not doing much to affect flow, but that can change in time. Right now my camera is upside down. Apologize, my auto levelers are in the shop right now. So the top of the pipe, which right now is on the bottom of the screen, you've got staining at that pipe joint that looks like it's allowing groundwater to flow through. You've got a dark stain around the full circumference of that joint, as well as some that looks like it's leading back across the top of the pipe. So that's one of those joints there that you're probably not going to see a lot of groundwater movement until you get to the rainy season. Same thing there. You've got a ring around that joint that indicates groundwater does seep through there. And that joint there, there's some separation at it. Whether it's that one's open to the ground or not is a little bit harder to tell. I'm gonna push out here and do locate. So thus far, you know, just the joint alone there at 68 feet. When you get a line that's of this age, I generally don't recommend spot repairs anymore. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know, this is in one of these cases like this, especially where you have a line, at least from this point out, by and large has good slope and grade. This is something that I would, you know, look